everybody. Welcome to Score to Live. Michael Swisher with Coach John Hardaway as we come to you from State Fair Arena after the first day of the 2A, 3A, 4A state basketball tournaments here in the Oklahoma City area. And this video is going to focus on the 4A brackets. And Coach, let's go ahead and start with the girls. And we're inching towards a potential rematch of last year's state championship when Hara upset Fort Gibson. Both teams won today, but they got to get through semifinal matchups first. Let's start with Fort Gibson playing a Tuttle team that I believe made state for the first time in the 5-on-5 era, but obviously just no match for Fort Gibson, which has been here this 14th year in a row. You know, kind of over polar opposites there. 56-31, Fort Gibson moves on to the semifinals. It will play number 6 Elgin at 6:30 p.m. at Southern Nazarene on Friday in the semifinals. Elgin won the rubber match with Anadarko as it beat Anadarko 52-45 for Anadarko's, I believe, first round exit for a second year in a row. But anything surprising there that hopped out of those two?
Well, I mean, I still think Anadarko is Anadarko, and you beat Anadarko, that's a quality win in the state tournament. I mean, Jeff Zinn as good as there is in coaching in Oklahoma. So you got to give it up to Elgin to win that third game here in the state tournament. But they're going to have their hands full, obviously, with Fort Gibson there in the semifinals.
Yeah, and you know Fort Gibson is on a mission. Already has one win this year over Hara. That was in the Fort Gibson tournament. But going to have to wait at least a day to see if they can make it happen. Hara's going to have its hands full as it's going to take on Muldrow in the semifinals. Hara defeated Victory Christian today, 52-41, in a game that was really nip and tuck most of the way as Coach Ed Calhoun's team played Hara pretty tough most of the way. But the defending champs advanced and improved to 24-3, whereas Muldrow got by Broken Bow 42-38 to set up number 2 versus number 3. And Muldrow, you know, a team that has been battle tested, I believe, got to the finals of the girls tournament champions before losing to Owasso. So it's going to be number 2 versus number 3 there. Hara and Muldrow should be a pretty tough matchup.
Yeah, it should be interesting. You know, you've got two really good individual players there in Anke and Collins. Muldrow and Hara, you know, like some Muldrow getting to the finals of the TOC. Hara won the Bertha Teague. They beat the Cashion girls in the finals, and then they lose to Fort Gibson in the finals of the Fort Gibson tournament. So that really should be a tremendous matchup, I would think, between Muldrow and Hara. You know, maybe the only difference being Hara's got a little more seasoning, you know, in the state tournament there in the semifinal round. But should be a really good matchup. You know, I think Hara's has a post girls about 6'2" that can be a difference maker. We're talking about post girls and post in the other videos as well, and Hara has one of those as well. So it should be a really good matchup, I think, between Muldrow and Hara there in the semifinals in 4A girls.
If memory serves, that loss to Fort Gibson may have actually come in the third place game. I think both teams were knocked off in the semifinals. Everybody's expecting to see those two play maybe in the finals, but it happened in the third place game. But Fort Gibson exacted a little bit of revenge. But again, the 4A girls semifinal games will be played at Southern Nazarene University, 6:30 p.m. Number 1 Fort Gibson against number 6 Elgin, and then at 8 p.m. number 2 Hara against number 3 Muldrow. Who do you see getting to the finals there? We're going to see a rematch?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're going to see chalk rematch Fort Gibson Hara there again in the finals in the fairgrounds on Saturday at 2 o'clock.
All right, let's go to 4A boys who are playing on Thursday at Deer Creek High School. First game of the day was Roland and Catoosa, number 9 versus number 10. It was number 9 who prevailed 57-54 as the Roland Rangers get into the semifinals. They will have number 4 Heritage Hall. Heritage Hall, no problems whatsoever with Tulsa McLean, 79-45 there. And Roland versus Heritage Hall. Heritage Hall is kind of a team that really has been ranked way too low all year long, you know, even at number 4 right now, but they just haven't been getting the ranking they deserve. But they played just a brutal schedule, and you know they're going to be one of the most talented teams in the class.
Absolutely talented, you know, veteran groups here all the time. You know, I will say this about Roland. This is just my personal memory. It seems like every time I think about Roland in the state tournament, they're always pulling an upset or keeping it close, maybe with somebody that you wouldn't think they should keep it close with. They've been here a bunch too, so I would expect that to be a pretty tight game. But I mean, like I said, Heritage Hall is just talent, ability overall is going to be a chore probably, I would assume, for Roland in the semifinals.
When you think of Heritage Hall, you think of the freshman Trey Alexander, one of the best freshmen, one of the best players in the state, and he just happens to be a freshman. The other semifinal is going to pit your defending champion Kingfisher Yellow Jackets against Webster. Kingfisher got all it wanted and more from Ada before the Yellow Jackets prevailed 50-45. Kingfisher, of course, the only undefeated boys team left, you know, in any class. So the Yellow Jackets improved to 27-0. But that was a game that I was at today, and that was Ada had a 1-point lead multiple times in the fourth quarter. Kingfisher took the lead with about 2.5 minutes left to play in the game on a back cut. Trey Green fed Jet Sternberger. Sternberger laid it in, and then they replayed that probably about a minute later, as Kingfisher just held on for the 50-45 win. But their lowest point total of the season, Ada certainly defended them better than anybody has all season. Kingfisher will play Tulsa Webster at 6 p.m. here at State Fair Arena. Webster defeated Seminole 61-51. But the Yellow Jackets played one team that can defend them pretty well today. Going to get another one on Friday in Webster, and you look at those 10 losses, and that can fool you really easy.
That's right. There's 10 really good losses. I mean, if there's such thing as a good loss, and I think there was definitely a high quality loss. I mean, Webster has a bunch of those, and Webster's been on the scene. They've just kind of been on a roll the last several rounds here in the playoffs. And Kingfisher with a close game. We were kind of talking about this with the Cashion girls too, and really it goes for anybody. Nobody hardly ever wins a state championship without having a really close game.
Right.
At some point, whether it's in the state tournament, area tournament, regionals, wherever, every team that's ever won one will have that really close game. So, if you're Kingfisher and you're the favorite, you're undefeated, you're number one, maybe that was yours today. Yeah. And anybody that's seen Kingfisher play knows they have the ability to explode at any time with their ability to score. So,
well, I think a lot of people coming in to this state tournament look at the bracket and we're picking Kingfisher and Heritage Hall in the finals. Do you see that happening tomorrow?
I would have to say Kingfisher and Heritage Hall, yes, in the finals.
All right, mark it down. He says so. At noon, it will be number 4 Heritage Hall against number 9 Roland, and then at 6 p.m. it's going to be Kingfisher against Webster. That's going to do it for your 4A brackets. Again, do your best to join us here at State Fair Arena or at Southern Nazarene for the girls on Friday.
Or UConn.
Or UConn for some of the other
2A
classes.
boys. Yep.
But if you can't be at any of those spots, be sure to have your Squirtle app downloaded and keep up with all the action on there. Thank you very much for joining us right here.